Hello everybody and welcome back to DTDcember, a series in which I'll be counting down my top 12 GTA villains of all time. If you want more info on this whole thing, feel free to check out my first video in this series where I explain the rules of my list. Or if you haven't seen my previous DTDcember videos and want to avoid spoilers, check out this playlist to watch every prior entry up to this point. Today, I'll be talking about my number 6 entry into this list, Dimitri Rascalov from Grand Theft Auto 4. Now that we're officially in the top half of this list, it's time to begin talking about the most dangerous and imposing villains in Grand Theft Auto history. And who better to start off with than GTA 4's Dimitri Rascalov. We first meet the man after our protagonist Nico kills his cousin's loan shark Vlad, resulting in the pair of cousins captured by Vlad's employers. When we wake up, Nico comes face to face with Dimitri as we're interrogated by him and an associate. Shortly afterwards, the boss of the whole operation, Mikhail Faustin, comes downstairs and escalates the situation by shooting his employee, and then shoots Roman for good measure when our cousin doesn't stop screaming for help. In this cutscene, we're immediately shown how impulsive and irrational Mikhail is, and by comparison, Dimitri comes off as calm and compassionate, and this all becomes especially true over the course of the next few missions. Towards the end of this chapter of the story, Mikhail orders Nico to kill the son of the rival Pedrig Mafia's leader, which results in their more powerful adversary threatening war with the Faustin Mafia. Dimitri manages to cut a deal with them, however, but this means that Nico will have to kill Mikhail for the rest of the family to be absolved of their leader's sins. After Mikhail's death, Dimitri asks Nico to come alone to an undisclosed warehouse to receive his payment, and when we arrive, Dimitri reveals his true colors to Nico as he offers him up to Ray Bulgarin, a man Nico had worked for back in Europe who wants him dead, in order to tie up the last remaining loose end of the old Faustin Mafia while simultaneously forming an alliance with Bulgarin's Mafia. After we escape, Nico calls Roman to inform him of the situation, and the two agree to pack up their things and flee Hove Beach. As they return to their apartment, however, they find it burning to the ground, and they find the same when they head over to Roman's cab depot. With nowhere else to go, the cousins go on the retreat to Bohan after being exiled from Broker, after which Dimitri spins his betrayal as a result of Nico's actions, and threatens that he will find the cousins and put an end to them. At this point, Dimitri feels like an absolute menace of a villain whose power our protagonist should genuinely fear. And if he had remained like this through the course of the rest of the game, he easily would have ranked much higher on this list. However, apart from the occasional phone call or mention of his name to remind us that he exists in the city, we don't come into contact with Dimitri again until the very end of the game. Granted, in the meantime, Dimitri is clearly working behind the scenes to transform the former Faustin Mafia that was local to Broker into a force that threatens to uproot all of Liberty City, and this new Rascalov Mafia is enough of a threat that one of the 5 families and the IAA have to enlist Nico to suppress their influence. But Dimitri himself remains absent from our screens until either the last or second to last mission of the game, depending on the player's choice. If we choose the deal ending and opt to work for Dimitri again, he's quick to show us exactly why that was the wrong move as he double crosses the buyers on his end of town, forcing us to do the same thing before the buyers grow wise and try to kill us. But once the deal is done and over with, Nico officially gets out of the game to settle down as a civilian, only for Dimitri to send an assassin to kill him, who fails and ends up killing Roman instead. Enraged by the loss of his cousin, Nico tracks Dimitri down and fights through his men to catch him in the act of betraying Jimmy Pecorino, the mob boss they had both worked for during the deal, proving yet again how psychotic and impulsive he truly is, which is ironic considering that's how his original business partner was portrayed back at the start of the game. Nonetheless, after we fight through some more of Dimitri's men, we chase him down to Happiness Island where we shoot him to the brink of death and then watch him bleed out to end the game. In the revenge ending, meanwhile, Nico finds out about Dimitri's whereabouts and decides to pay him a visit on the same boat that originally brought our protagonist to Liberty City in the first place. After a long shootout into the cargo hold, Nico finds Dimitri, who remains as cocky as ever as he throws more men at our protagonist in an effort to stop us. But when we fight through them and confront our antagonist, he begins to cower and beg for his life, making it all the more satisfying when Nico finally puts that bullet through his skull. After this, the story continues on despite the main antagonist already being defeated, and we see Jimmy Pecorino take revenge on Nico for not doing the deal, which leads us into the final mission where we kill Pecorino in place of Dimitri. And because of this, I think Dimitri comes off as a weaker villain in this ending overall, since the story doesn't end at his defeat. In the end, I think Dimitri's status as a villain is diminished by his absence throughout most of the story, and at least in the revenge ending, he's made to feel insignificant since he doesn't even make it to the game's finale. Because of this, as memorable of a character as he is, I don't feel that I can rank him above the other villains I'm going to talk about. However, because of how impactful his actions are to our protagonist when he is on screen, as well as how much of a threat he and his forces become to the city and even the country in the grand scheme, I feel he easily ranks higher than all the other antagonists I've talked about thus far. For those reasons, I give Dimitri Rascalov the number 6 spot on this list of the greatest GTA villains of all time. But what are your thoughts? Do you agree with Dimitri's placement on this list, or do you think he should have been ranked elsewhere? And now that we're halfway through the series, how are you enjoying DTDcember so far? Tell me down below, and if you have enjoyed this series so far, feel free to leave a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already, so that you'll be notified this Tuesday when I return with the number 5 entry for this list. So until then, have a blessed couple of days, and I'll see you all again real soon. This is your boy Doug the Dog 6, and I'm signing off.